Welcome back to Squared Away Garage. Springtime's coming. Last time you guys saw Hussy was in a quick short video, and the first snow of the season was coming. That morning I had done some cold weather tuning with Scott Clark, and I was just sneaking it into storage under the gun, 11th hour. And a couple hours after that short was shot, we were covered with snow around here. Anyway, during that tuning at the end of last year, found a couple of little things. Actually, one thing that Scott's been on me about for a while, and another which he's just kind of like, I kind of don't like that. And what I'm doing now is I'm fixing these two little things, and I'm going to get you in here and show you what they are. Okay, so this is what I'm up to under the hood. These connectors are for the coil on plug ignition. These are the connectors that plug into the actual individual coils. So I got these possibly off of eBay, possibly Amazon, possibly they came in a kit from Holly with one of their, but I don't think that's the case. I think these were just a generic Chinese connector I got. And they worked fine, but I did notice right away, and this one's not one of them, that the bodies were cracking. They would either break right here or they would break right here. They didn't want to latch very well. So one of the things that Scott noticed when we were tuning is I had some misses in the ignition, and the first problem, which he noticed the very first time he connected to my truck, was with the actual coils. I had an aftermarket name brand coil on the truck, and he said, those have got to go away before we do any tuning on the truck. So went with AC Delco coils, and that fixed that problem. But last December, when we were doing our cold weather tuning, these came up. We still had some real intermittent misses going on, he could see in the data, and he asked me if I had cheap plugs on it. I told him what I had. He said they got to go away. So that jumps forward to today. I bought all AC Delco plugs, and I want to point out some differences. First, the plug bodies are a little different. The fit on the coils, it's amazing the difference. So what I did is I pulled a connector out of each, a new AC Delco plug and a connector out of the cheap plug, and I just slid the female connector body onto the pin inside the coil, and the difference between the fit between the two is very noticeable. This just slides off and on. This has some friction to it. It actually takes a little bit to get it to slide onto the pin. The other thing is these bodies have a rubber seal on the back side of them. So when this is in here and it's secured, this is waterproof. You got a waterproof seal here, and it is on the other connector body, but there's no seal in the back of the connector. If you look right there, there's no. See the difference here? See the rubber grommet on this one, and no rubber grommet on this one. So what could happen is water could get in there, and lo and behold, the connector body that I took apart, I look in there, and this pin right here, I'll get it up here a little closer. This pin right here is corroded. So between the difference in the fit on the two and the fact that water was able to get in here, which this truck doesn't see any real weather, but it gets washed. Water was getting down in here. I was already having a problem with corrosion developing, and I didn't have a positive connection anyway, because the cheap pins don't, or the cheap connector bodies don't fit the pins in the coil very well. So, and then on top of that, you can tell the difference in these things. These are much more sturdy than these flimsy Chinese ones. So getting that taken care of, that is actually quite a pain. I lose all my colors. The AC Delco are every damn wire on them is white, so you got to be real careful putting it all back together. Make sure you're paying attention to the actual pin and where it's going to. So getting close to getting that done. I'm going to get that finished up, and then we're going to move on to problem number 2 that Scott found. A lot of white wires had to go through right there. What a pain. All right, all the ignition wiring is back together, so we're just going to double check real quick, make sure it starts up and everything works like it's supposed to. Day 2, I'm going to start out in the truck today because I'm going to show you something here in the video before I remove the next piece, which is going to be the starter. So I have a basic Power Master. It's supposed to be a high torque starter on it, but you can hear each compression stroke of the engine with this starter. It just kind of struggles to turn it over, and you can see it on my gauges. And I'm going to show you that here in just a second. So what happens is my battery voltage drops way down as that starter's turning over. It's just struggling to get the engine to turn easily. So when Scott was tuning the truck last winter, he brought that up. He's like, your voltage is dropping way down to like 9 volts, and the sensors and stuff are probably right on the cusp, but they don't want to work. And I've actually had problems with my Dakota digital gauges giving me error messages after startup, probably for the same reason. So I'm going to start out by showing you exactly what the voltage does when I try to start it. I'm going to turn the ECU off so the engine won't fire. I'll just be able to turn the engine over. You'll see the voltage, and then I'm going to take the current starter off. I've got a mini high torque starter that I got from O'Reilly's, and I'm going to compare them, and then I'll put that on, and I'll give you guys another look at what the voltage is after the mini high torque is on, and we'll see what the difference is. I expect there should be some difference, but I wouldn't want to bet on what that is right now because I don't know. So here we go. Okay, so what we're watching here is we're going to watch this bottom segment of this display on my Dakota digital gauges. This bottom segment is going to turn red to indicate that there is a fault of some sort. So what I've got the parameters set so that if the voltage, battery voltage drops below a certain amount, it'll light up as a warning. So that's going to happen here, and you're going to see just about 9 volts, just a touch over. Okay, so that's what we're going to try to see if we can improve upon. All right, here's what I've got. This is an O'Reilly's brand Ultima starter. Part number's right here. In 613326A. What this is off of is a 96 Chevy truck with a 350 Vortec engine in it. This would be the same starter that they would put in it. So you could probably say 95 to 98 or 94 to 98, somewhere in there, 350 engine, and they'll pull out this starter. It's for a 68 tooth flex plate, so it should go right on. If you look here, my 292 has the offset mounting bolts for the starter to bolt up to. This is exactly the same. The one difference though that's I am noticing is the bolts for the starter are these are 4 5/8 inches long. These that I'm going to end up using are, let me make sure I'm saying that right. Yeah, 4 5/8 for the starter that was on it, and these are 4-inch that are going to be needed for this starter. So this part of the body right here is a little thinner. Bolt has to change. Other than that, this should bolt right in there, and we'll see if it makes a difference on that starting voltage. All right, I'm back in the truck. I'm going to do the same exact test that I did previously. The ECU is turned off, so I don't have any spark or fuel. The engine will turn over with the key though, and the Dakota digital gauges will show us what our voltage is. So here we go. Remember, we're watching that bottom segment, and we were getting right at about 9.1 to 9.2 previously. Here we go. All right, this is round 2. I've tried to do this once already, and I didn't get my red box to come up on the Dakota digital gauges to show me my voltage. That means that the voltage was significantly higher. It was above the minimum threshold for the warning to come on. So what I've done here is I've got my app on my phone set up with real-time gauges to the truck through the Dakota digital gauges here. And let me show this to you. So if you see this right here, I'm going to zero in. We got right here, we got 12.2 volts right now as it's sitting here. So I'm going to turn it over, and we're going to see what that drops down to. Remember, previously I was getting about let's see, 9.2. Let's flip that back on real quick. All right, so here we go. I'm going to turn it over. So it's showing about 10.2 volts now, which means I have gained a whole volt of cranking power during startup. So that should keep me in a much better place for my sensors for the fuel injection and everything. And I'm going to guess it's also going to kind of clear up the error codes that I was getting previously out of the Dakota digital gauges. So that's kind of it for this video. I really like the way that starter sounds compared to what the other starter sounded like before. This is not a gear reduction high torque starter, but I do have one of those in my black truck, a GM one that came with the crate engine that's in there. And this turns over much faster. It's much more similar sounding, not quite so pitchy as the gear reduction one, but still the engine turning over much quicker. It's very noticeable. So anyway, I've got one other thing I'm going to get out of the truck here, and I'm going to I got some paperwork I want to show you here, because I found out something else very interesting about the starter that I put on here when I was cleaning it up. Check this out. While I was cleaning the starter up to get it ready to put into the truck, I was taking off all the labels and everything. So remember, I told you I bought this at O'Reilly's, Ultima brand, correct? But there was an Ultima label with this part number over another label that was on the starter, and that label had this number on it, 6449 MSN. Okay, so I looked that up, that part number. I just did a Google search, and it comes up in a couple places, eBay, Amazon, whatnot. This same starter came up on Amazon. It's 65 bucks right now as of the time of this video. I paid $165 for this, and it looks like Ultima is just buying it from someone else, which, you know, that's a lot of things are that way. But that's good information to know, because if this starter turns out to be a good starter, I mean, long term, it's obviously making a difference right now, the day that I put it in there. But long term, if the starter ends up being a you know, something that's worthwhile, that's $100 cheaper to get that off of Amazon by using 6449 MSN instead of buying one at O'Reilly's for that much money relabeled. Anyway, take care, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe if you did. We'll see you next time.